All right, I hope you all had a yummy pie day. And let's take a look at this problem. We have a sum, and all of the digits are replaced with letters. Different letters represent different digits, and the same letters represent the same digits. And we're given that e is equal to 9. All right, so e is equal to 9. And the question is, what does the letter I represent right here? Well, let's first of all take a look right at the units digit. Okay, so we're adding e plus a and y, and we're getting y in the units digit. So what that tells us is that a has to be 1, right? There's nothing else it could be. E plus a can't be 0, and so it's got to be 10. It's got to be something ending in 0. And the only possibility is it has to, e plus a has to be 10, so a has to be 1. Okay? That'll give us y in the units digit, and then we'll carry 1 over to the tens place, right? So we also know, now we know that a is 1, all right? So we know a is 1, a is 1, okay? So, and if you notice here, v plus m plus 1, which is the carry, gives us something ending in 1, all right? Well, what does that tell us about v and m? Well, that tells us that v and m have to be 10, all right? Because we know they have to be different digits, so they both can't be 0. So they have to be something ending in 0, which is the only possibility is 10. All right, so what are the options for v and m? Well, we could have 2 plus 8, right? We could have, sorry, 3 plus 7. We could have 4 plus 6. We can't have 5 plus 5 because they have to be different digits. We could have 6 plus 4. We could have 7 plus 3. Or we could have 8 plus 2. Okay, those are our options. So we've got 6 cases we can look at for v and m and see where that gets us. Another thing to notice too is that we have all these letters. We have a lot of letters, and we only have a certain number of digits. All right, we've got the digits 0 through 9 to work with, so we have 10 digits. And the different letters that we have are H, A, V, and E. A is a repeat. We have Y, U, and M, and then another M and another Y. And then we have P, and we have I, and we have D, another A, and another Y. All right, so how many digits is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we're going to have to use every single digit that we have available to us in the base 10 number system, right? And we already know that E has to be 9, A has to be 1, okay? And so let's list out all of the digits, all right? So we want to kind of keep track of which digits we use, because that'll give us information as far as what the possibilities for the other letters are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it. All right, those are our 10 digits. All right, so to save time, I wrote out the different possibilities for us, so we can take a look at these possibilities. All right. So this first case is where V is 2 and M is 8. Okay, so that's this first case right here. All right, so let's take a look what happens when we replace V and M with 2 and 8. All right, we get 9 plus 1 plus y gives us y in the units digit, carry a 1. All right, so 8 plus 2 plus the 1 gives us 11. Okay, we put down the 1 and carry a 1. Now, when we add 8 and 1, carry the 1, that's 10. So we get a 0 in the units digits, and then we carry a 1. All right. So far it looks like we've got all different digits. We haven't got any conflicts yet. But we do know that we need to have a carry here. All right. Otherwise, y and p would be the same digit, right? So this p has to be essentially y plus 1, all right, because that's the highest carry we could have from this column, from this previous column. So let's take a look at what digits we've used so far. We've used 9 and 1, 8 and 2, and now we've used also 0 because now we know that D is 0. So what do we got left? We got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So H and U have to be something bigger than 10. And actually bigger than 11 because I can't be 1. We've already used 2 as well, right? So it has to be bigger than 12. So it looks like, now remember we have a carry here as well. So we could, so for example, 5 and 6 won't work because then we would get 11 plus 1, which is 12. And then the I would be a 2, which is what V already is. So so it looks like our only possibilities for H and U have to be 6 and 7. 6 plus 7 is going to give us 13 plus the 1. That would give us I is equal to 4, right? Carry the 1. All right, so we got 14. We know I is 4. And then, so that would, we would use 6 and 7. And now, Y has to be 1 less than P. So we need consecutive digits here. Now we've just used the 4. Okay, we've just figured out that I has to be 4. So we can't get consecutive digits for Y and P, right? So the only digits we have left are 3 and 5. And so this case isn't going to work. Okay? Alright, so let's look at the next case. Here we have 9 and 1 for E and A. Y is the units digit. We carry a 1. We get a 1 for A, which is good. We get 11, carry the 1. Okay, so now we know that D would have to be 9, right? But we've already said that E is 9. So this case isn't going to work either. That was easy. Alright, so let's look at the next case. Here we're using 4 and 6 for V and M. Alright, so we get Y in the units digit. We carry a 1. A is 1, carry another 1. We get 8 for D. Alright, so let's look at what we've used so far. We've used 9 and 1, 4 and 6, and now we've used 8. Okay. And again, we want H and U to be something bigger than 10, right? Or they could be, it could be 10 in this case, right? Because we haven't used the 0 yet. So let's see, what do we have left to work with? We have 0, 2, 3, and 5, and 7. Well, let's take a look here. What could we do? We could, it looks like the only thing that's going to work are 3 and 7 for H and U, which would give us a 0 for P. But then all we've got left for Y, I guess a 0 for I, and then all we have left are 2 and 5, right? 2 and 5 aren't consecutive numbers, and we know that Y and P have to be consecutive digits, so that's not going to work. So we can't find a combination that works for that. All right, the next case for V is 6 and A is 4. Sorry, not A. M is 4. In this case, we have the same issue that we had in the case where M is 3 and V and M are 3 and 7. Because when we add that, when we do the addition, we end up finding that D has to be 6, but V is already 6. All right, so that's not going to work. All right, so let's take a look at this case. V is 7 and M is 3. Okay, so we do the addition. We find out that D has to be 5. So let's cross out the numbers we already know are used. We know 1 and 9, 3 and 7, and now 5 are used. It looks like we're going to have the same issue because we don't have any consecutive numbers at all. We have the numbers we have left are 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So we're not going to be able to satisfy the y and the p, so they're consecutive numbers. That's what they have to be. So that doesn't work either. All right, so finally, let's look at if anything's going to work, it has to be this one, right? So, all right, so this is what we've got. We know E is 9, A is 1. We put down, that's 10. The unit digit is y. We carry a 1. 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 11. Carry the 1. And then we have 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so now we've used the 4. D is 4. And what do we have left? We have H and U have to be something that has a carry. All right. So what can we use? Well, we've got 0. We have 7. Or sorry, we have 3 and 5 and 6 and 7. Okay, so it looks like we could have 3 and 7 as a possibility. And that would leave us 5 and 6 as consecutive numbers. If we use 5 and 6 or 5 and 7 or 6 and 7, then we're going to be left with a string of numbers that aren't consecutive. So I think the only one that will work is if H and U are 7 and 3. Now it doesn't really matter. We could put 7 and 3 or 3 and 7. Either way, I has to be 0. And then, okay, so that's because 3 and 7 is 10. We don't have a carry from the previous column. So 3 and 7, that's 10. We carry the 1. And then y would have to be 5. And this would have to be 6. So our solution is, let me just rewrite that over here. We have 7, 1, 8, 9 plus 1. And we have 5, 3, 2, 2. Now this y has to be 5. Okay, that works. And then when we add that up, we get 5, 1, 4, 0, and 6. Okay, so that works. And it also works that we could switch around the H and the U. Okay, so we could have 3 and 7. So we could have 3, 1, 8, 9, 1, and 5, 7, 2, 2, 5. That also works. Gives us the same sum, 4, 0, and 5. But we were asked to find I. All right, so I is here. I is equal to 0. Okay? So that's the way I solved it. I actually had one of my students come up with a very interesting idea to solve this problem. He noticed that H, A, Y, and P can't be 0. And he knew that we had to use every digit. So there's only a limited number of places that 0 can go. It has to be either I or D. That's the only places that that can be 0, because we have so many digits that can't be 0. H, A, Y, and P can't be 0. So he took a little bit of a shortcut by recognizing that I and D had to, one of those two cases had to be or one of those two letters had to be 0. And so that was good, I thought. That was a good reasoning. So anyway, by process of elimination, he came up with the same answer. So the solution is that I is equal to 0.